Hello everyone. Today is 3rd of September. Now it's about 6:30 in the evening Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my second update for a day in which I will share all the main news that Russian media reported since my first update this morning. And before I start with the news, let me tell you that I'm right now in Serebryny Bor area, which is island on the Moscow River. As I understand, as far as I understand, this island is in between Moscow River and Moscow Channel, and it's as green place as it can get, as you can see, by the way, on the background. Nice area to go for a walk, to have some rest. And I'm first time here, and I'm gonna tell you, quite impressed that in Moscow you can find this quite cool place. Nice. And well, that's been said, let's talk about news now. And there are quite significant developments happening, and I will start with the trip of Russian president to Mongolia. And as I predicted, by the way, in previous updates, one of the topics of discussion between the leadership of two countries was energo projects, and also, of course, some other topics on bilateral relations. But anyways, let's go step by step. So first of all, Russian president invited his Mongolian colleague to big summit, which will take place in Kazan, capital of Russia's Tatarstan Autonomous Republic. And big summit will take place in this autumn, and some big expectations are related to this summit. Me personally expect some significant announcements on topic of creation of alternative financial and the banking system, alternative to the Western one that was and is weaponized by Western ruling class on the scale that it poses a significant security threat for rest of the world, not just Russia. Also, by the way, Russian president invited his Mongolian colleague to participate next year in 80th anniversary of the victory of the Nazi Germany. And it is highly likely that Mongolian president will participate in the celebrations on May, and probably will be among the guests on Victory Parade. And as I said, by the way, Russian and Mongolian leaders talked about some topics on bilateral relations, including cooperation in energy sectors. And Russian president reassured his Mongolian colleague that work on a project, gas pipeline project. Let me give you name of that project, by the way. It's not it's Union Vostok, by the way. It's a pipeline, gas pipeline, Union Vostok, which is connected with, which is somewhat connected with the Power of Siberia 2. Oh, okay. Oh, let me show you, by the way, if squirrel. Wow, nice. Okay, and well, this this project, Union Vostok is east, by the way. Union East pipeline is connected with the Power of Siberia 2, and Russian president said that work is on final stage on this pipeline. And also, by the way, on topic of Power of Siberia 2, project is moving forward, and it's only a matter of time before sites will finalize this project, and construction will begin. So, and I'm quite sure there were some other agreements reached between the sides, and Russian media late today or tomorrow will report about it in detail. And of course, I will share additional information on my Telegram channel or in next updates. Also, by the way, because of this visit of Russian president to Mongolia, of course, just about everybody is mocking Western ruling class and ICC, the so-called International Criminal Court, which is, of course, a laughingstock, I will say, criminal organization in hands of Western ruling class. And former Russian president and current deputy chairman of the Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev, commented on this issue, and he said that, well, Asian nation told ICC to get lost with Putin's warrant, which is exactly what happened. Ulaanbaatar definitely has no care about ICC and fantasies, sick fantasies that Western ruling class or ICC's staff has. That being said, also, of course, there's some news about situation on line of contact in zone of special military operation and also in Kursk salient, which is temporarily occupied by Kyiv regime. And Russian Defense Ministry today updated information on that. And latest news is that, according to Defense Ministry, Kyiv regime lost about 400 military personnel on the Kursk direction. And there are more than 20 different type of armored vehicles. Overall casualty numbers, this is in last 24 hours, by the way. And overall losses of the Kyiv regime in Kursk salient area is more than 9,300 military personnel at this point. Also, by the way, which is huge, isn't it? 9,000 military personnel. In terms of Ukraine, by the way, this is at least 3 full-blooded brigades. And also Kyiv regime lost, by the way, 80 tanks, 38 infantry fighting vehicles, 70 armored personnel carriers, 561 different type of armored vehicles, trucks, personnel carriers, and so on, like Max Pro, for example. Also 273 motor cars of different types. Usually it's a pickup trucks that are armed with machine guns and some other equipment. Also 68 field artillery systems of the Kyiv regime was destroyed in Kursk salient area. 20 MLRS systems or multi-launch rocket systems, including 6 HIMARS MLRS systems, which is a big deal, I will say, because these systems are really long range. They have really long range capabilities, especially if they are firing ATACMS. So therefore, destruction of these weapon systems definitely is priority, as I understand, for Russian intelligence that are working to find out their locations. And then usually Iskander strikes are taking place, Iskander missile strikes or Tornado-S missile strikes. Also, by the way, Russian armed forces in Kursk salient, since the beginning of this invasion, destroyed 17 radio-electronic warfare systems, 7 radar systems of the counter-battery warfare, 2 radar systems of the air defense, and 8 8 engineering equipment, and I believe up to 10 air defense systems of the Kiev regime. So significant losses, by the way. I want to make sure about air defense systems, but I cannot find the number. I remember a couple of days ago it was 6 air defense systems at least that was destroyed. So at least 6 have been destroyed. Although yesterday I believe there was additional reports about destruction of Buk air defense system. Videos were circulating on internet, so it's up to 10 basically. In any case, significant losses on part of Kiev regime. And dear friends, let me show you this area before I continue. So this place is an island. All on this island there is lakes, and people are enjoying themselves on canoes. I can see some people are fishing and even swimming, by the way. So if swimming is okay, then water must be okay for that. I don't know. Me personally, I would not risk to swim here, but that's maybe because I have no idea how clean water is or how safe. But anyways, nice place, isn't it? Let's continue with some more news. Let's continue with some more news. And well, today Kiev regime yet again shelled Belgorod region, and you will never guess what Kiev regime targeted. It's a church, by the way, Orthodox church. According to some reports, Kiev regime's drone struck on Orthodox church, and it was significantly damaged. I shared on my Telegram pictures, photos of the damaged church. You can check if you have not seen it. And of course, I think none of us are surprised that Kiev regime is demonstrating its evil face on daily basis. I mean, what you're gonna expect from mass murderers and the terrorists, by the way, and the Nazis? I mean, also, by the way, Interfax is reporting that Russian Defense Ministry made a decision to deploy additional air defense systems into Belgorod region. And TASS news agencies report that according to Russian security services in the DPR, Donetsk People's Republic, Kiev regime's forces in Uglidar area are partially encircled. Now, if you remember, I was predicting that Russian armed forces will most likely try to at least partially encircle Kiev regime's forces in Uglidar direction, and exactly this was reported today by Russian media, based on statements of Russian security institutions in the DPR. Also, Vzгляд newspaper is reporting that well, today there was a missile strikes, by the way, in Poltava, where Russian forces targeted Kiev regime's formations, basically institution that was preparing specialists for Kiev regime's forces in radio electronic warfare and communication. And at the time of the strike, there was some sort of gathering of the personnel of this military institution, and also whoever was undergoing studies. According to Russian sources, up to 500 people, militaries of the Kiev regime, were concentrated in that area during the strike. and there was 2 missile strikes according to reports, and Kiev regime lost, according to some reports, up to 200 military personnel killed and wounded. According to other reports, number is significantly high. Zelensky himself confirmed that as a result of this strike, more than 180 people were injured, and we are talking about military personnel, by the way, and 41 was killed. But yet again, I don't think Zelensky is ever saying the truth, so therefore it is highly likely that a real number of the casualties on side of Kiev regime is significantly high. Initially, Kiev regime tried to push narrative that Russian armed forces targeted civilian area, but videos start circulating, videos and photos, by the way, start circulating almost immediately on the internet after this strike, and you can clearly see on those videos and photos that it was a military gathering that was targeted by Russian forces. No, there can be no doubts about that. Although, as I said, initially Kiev regime tried to push this narrative that it was civilian. It was civilians in that area, and even Western so-called media outlets tried to push this narrative, but they failed also. I watched on BBC, by the way, report on this and on this topic, and BBC had a guest who basically in real time said that it was a military target. So Kiev regime and the West yet again failed to push this false narrative on the world community. Also, by the way, Russian ambassador to US, Anatoly Antonov, made commented on the possibility of long-range strikes deep inside Russian territory by US-made weapon systems. And well, let me tell you what he said. The US is using Ukrainians as a proxy fighters in a dead-end project. Ambassador Anatoly Antonov has warned Washington's Ukraine project has brought destruction to Slavic people. Russia's ambassador to the US, Anatoly Antonov, warned on Monday. He accused the Americans of using Ukrainians as a cannon fodder in an unwinnable conflict. He further warned that the White House will face serious consequences if it removes restrictions on Kiev using Western missiles to conduct long-range strikes inside Russia. And on some other sources, by the way, I saw news that Antonov said directly that there will be, US will face consequences directly if Western weapon systems will be used to strike deep inside Russian territory. I find it a little bit difficult to understand all this statement diplomacy, if I may say this way, because Western weapon systems already being used to strike deep inside Russian territory, and it is sometimes, at least, it is difficult to understand what Russian officials mean when they say if long-range strikes will be conducted, then we will do this or that. Long-range strikes already being conducted, including in the Kursk region, by the way. But maybe Russian officials mean Moscow. I don't know. To me, strikes on any of the Russian regions are strikes deep inside Russian territory. But who knows what these officials mean, really, because it is confusing. It is confusing. And if you ask me what they mean by this wording, strikes deep inside Russian territory, I cannot tell you because I don't know myself. Maybe they mean Moscow, really. I have no idea. And there are constant talks about some consequences, but did we see any, at least for now? I don't know. So therefore, most likely, no one in Western ruling class will listen to any of these warnings from the Russian officials, which is really unfortunate, by the way, because I don't know what the plans of the Moscow are, but at some point, I guess even Putin will lose his patience. I guess that's what is going to happen, and then all hell will break out, and it will be too late for anybody among Western ruling class to asking for the escalation. It will be just too late for that. If they want to de-escalate, they should do it now. But until they are facing true force, they're not gonna listen to nobody. And they feel like they can do anything because they were acting this way with impunity since forever, you know. But anyways, Russian ambassador was quite direct that Washington will face some consequences if restrictions on strikes deep inside Russian territory will be lifted. Okay, I don't know what all these statements are all about. What restrictions when almost on daily basis Western weapon systems being used to target Russian territory, but whatever Russian officials mean, probably someday we will find out about it, and also about these consequences that they love to talk about. Okay, but I'm a bit skeptical, by the way. At this point, I'm truly skeptical that there will be any consequences for the Western ruling class, because I don't know. I just don't believe that Moscow is willing to pay back to the enemies of Russia. I mean, I'm just not sure about it. Anyways, let's continue. Maybe I'm too skeptical, maybe I just don't know something. And most likely that's the case, but you know, optics are too bad, by the way. Too much talks, too many warnings, and even Russian supporters worldwide and among our community also, you know, struggling to understand what the hell is going on, man. I mean, how many warnings you have to give before you actually start acting on your words, man. I mean, 10, 20, 50, 150,000, million, how many? Anyways, there are some topics that I also struggle to understand, so therefore it is what it is, man. Few news about some economical developments, by the way, that is, you know, hopefully you will find interesting. For example, Egypt in July, August was a #1 country when it comes to buying Russian grain. And let me give you top 5 countries in this time frame, July, August. So #1 is Egypt. They brought 1.2 million tons of Russian grain. Second place on Saudi Arabia, more than 1 million tons of grain. On third place is Turkey, 748,000 tons. Fourth place is Iran, 634,000 tons. And fifth place goes for Bangladesh, 622,000 tons. Significant volume, significant numbers. Although absolutely not surprising, because of course Russia is a breadbasket for this world, and will only get bigger and bigger in this regards. Also interesting news that the Russian Sberbank, biggest bank in Russian Federation, made a decision to allow private clients, citizens basically, not just the companies, but citizens, to open bank accounts in Indian rupees, which is a interesting move, and I will say big deal, because there is a big number, the big volume of rupees in Russia, because due to bilateral trade and agreements to pay national currencies, Indian businesses quite often pay for Russian goods in rupees, and there are big volume of this currency, and it's not really there is not huge demand on rupees worldwide, and therefore if Russia will stimulate citizens to open bank accounts in rupees also, just to do some diversification of their investments, of course that will support at least a little bit Indian currency to get stronger and to gain popularity, maybe, which is definitely important for Russia and for India, because countries are trading in national currencies. So interesting news. I didn't expect that kind of news, but anyways, some more news, dear friends. Also, Moscow Exchange made a statement that, despite the expectations of some media outlets or the experts, Moscow Exchange has no plans to start trading. Moscow Exchange has no plans to start exchange of their cryptocurrencies. Although some other financial institutions here in Russia already stated that they will look at this matter, and most likely they will participate in cryptocurrency development of the cryptocurrency exchanges. Let's see. Also, by the way, Interfax is reporting that according to second Russian biggest bank, VTB, in 2024, credits, volume of credits or number of credits will decrease on 9% compared to previous year, which is well, somewhat significant, because as I said many times before, Russian economy is struggling with overheating. There is a significantly bigger or higher demand than economy can deal with, and that's why central bank is increasing interest rates to somehow slow down economy a little bit, cool down economy a little bit. And seems like latest increase in interest rates has its impact, and well, because credits become more and more expensive, expectations are that this year banks will give at least 9% less credits than previous year, which may not be bigger number, but still it will probably somewhat help economy to cool down a little bit. Who would expect, isn't it, that after 20,000 sanctions and all that pressure that Western ruling class imposed on Russia, main issue for Russian economy will be to cool down a little bit, because it's it's working on its maximum capacities, and it's just overheating. Also, by the way, interesting news that the sales of the cars increased in August 33% compared to previous same period of the previous year, which is also a significant number, and clearly demonstrates this high demand in the public on different sorts of goods and services, including cars. And on this topic, also interesting news that, well, Chinese firm makes history in Russian business rankings because well, Chinese car manufacturer Chery became the largest foreign company in Russia by revenue in 2023, according to latest statistics. And this was reported by Forbes magazine. The publication released on Tuesday its rankings of the 50 largest businesses operating in their sanctioned country in Russia that are at least 50% foreign owned. So Chery is the first ever Chinese company to claim the top spot in the Forbes ranking. The brand increased its sales in Russia by 300% year on year to over 590 billion rubles, which is 6.65 billion US dollars. In 2022, the Chinese car maker was number 10 on the Forbes list. So basically, since the beginning of special military operation, when a significant number of car manufacturers from the collective West left Russia, of course, Chinese businesses use this unique opportunity, and businesses from many other countries, but especially China, they use this opportunity to basically overwhelm Russian market, to introduce themselves to the Russian market big time, and to claim this free spot that was created as a result of some Western businesses or businesses from collective West leaving the country. And that's the results, by the way. Chery is making some very good money in Russia. 6.65 billion in 2023 alone, and I guess this year number will be even bigger than that. I mean, it's big, it's definitely big, and somewhat expected, of course, somewhat expected. And dear friends, I will end this update now. I will end this update now. I mean, it's just too noisy, man. Let me pause for a second. So yes, it's quiet again now. So interesting, by the way. And I will end this update on this news about Chinese car manufacturer and its profits. Hopefully you will find their update interesting, informative, and useful. And if so, please click that like button, leave some commentary, and share information about my channel with your friends in real life or on internet, on any of the platforms that you are actively using. And I hope, dear friends, you find this background nice, because it is nice. It is nice. It's 7 o'clock, around 7 o'clock right now, and probably you notice people are still walking around, enjoying themselves, which is cool. And yes, dear friends, if you find my work interesting and useful, if you find my channels interesting and useful, and if you want to support, you can do it with donations through PayPal or Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. All the links are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.